What's everybody, Shane here from Fugatech 3D Printing, and today we're going to do part 2 of my Voron Legacy build. Welcome back everyone. So if you watched part 1, you saw me tear down my HyperCube and then build this frame. This is the core frame for standard size of the Voron Legacy. I've been wanting to build a Voron for a long time, so this is the first one that I'm really going to sink my teeth into. So what I have in front of me here is everything that we're going to need to build the Z-axis, and that's what we're going to do today. I have all my rods cut, I have all the parts printed, I have all my hardware there here with all the different pieces that we need for it, and I do need to cut this last piece of extrusion for the bed because I cut them wrong. I cut them right, but I ended up extending the extrusion for the bed just to fit the bed that I'm using. I am tweaking the design just a little bit, so I'm gonna have to cut this tomorrow because it's like 11 o'clock at night right now and I can't really use the chop saw at night. So this is gonna go to side. We'll finish that up tomorrow night, but for tonight we're gonna go ahead and start putting all of this together. Now, there is no guide for this, so I'm hoping that this video series really helps you if you are trying to build a Voron Legacy. What I'm using is the CAD drawing in Fusion 360 to see what everything is, where everything goes, what size of the different bolts that I need, and the lengths and the sizes, M3, M4, M5, and where that all goes. So that's really where I'm getting everything from. So hopefully I don't mess any of it up. So aside from all the printed parts, you are going to need the guide here, and it is in the tool folder of the Voron Legacy BOM. If you download the STLs, this will be in there, and all those links will be down below. So if you want to check out any of the stuff that I'm using or where I'm getting everything from, all the links will be down below for you to use. The first thing is, before we really start building this, we need to do something with heat inserts. So these are M3 heat inserts that I have, and I have more coming because I'm going to need more for the build, but these ones I'm going to get put in first. And Voron is very, very big into heat inserts. I've never seen any other printer out there that actually uses these. So I don't know if it's bad or good. I've just never used them. We're gonna see how it goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my soldering iron heated up. I do have a tip for these. You can use a regular soldering iron tip, but I do have one. And we're gonna get these pressed in to all the necessary parts, and then we can start building. All right, so next I'm going to take my lead screw integrated stepper motors for the Z. I'm going to go ahead and attach the brackets for those. I want my plugs here to go to the back of the printer, so I'm going to attach these going this way. This will be the left side. I'll do the other way on the right side. But these just go in with M3 by 8 millimeter bolts very quickly and easily. Okay, and now in the back of these are going to use these 16 millimeter M5 button heads with a T-nut in the bottom. I'm using twist-in T-nuts. I don't think it actually specifies that you need to use one or the other, but I've had good luck with these twist-on ones, so that's what I'm going to use. Okay, so these are ready to go. Let's go ahead and get them prepped to install, I guess. So because I need to use the guide for these, I'm not going to tighten these down. These are just going to go on just so they can be place held in until I have the guide and the rest of the rods kind of ready I guess I can go ahead and use it. So I have the spacer here. That just goes on the front. I'm a little too far back there. So just make those nice and loose. And then this guy fits right there like that into the tool. And I can tighten that one in. And it is exactly the same for the other side here. What? The other side. In there, touch the front. And both the Z motors are on now. Before I go start putting a whole lot more of this together, I'm gonna go ahead and prep all of the ones that are gonna go into the extrusion of the bed. I'm gonna prep all these with their M5 by 8, I'm sorry, these are M5 by 10 millimeters with the T-nuts in them. So there are 4 parts for the bottom, 4 parts for the top. And I'm just gonna go ahead and prep all of those now. Now for these top brackets, again, these are a little bit different on mine because I'm using different size bed, but these ones use 16 millimeter bolts where the, like I said, those bottom ones use the 10 millimeter. Okay, so now we have these parts for the top on the bed, the bottom on the bed. Now I have all of these guys here. Now these are the bottom mounts for the actual smooth rods. So we're gonna go ahead and prep these as well. These are also taking the 16 millimeter M5s with a T-nut to be secured to the frame. And in the side of these have the heat thread inserts. These are taking M3 by 16 bolts that will need to be threaded in there, and they are what's going to kind of clamp down on those on these M8 smooth rods, or I should say M8, these 8 millimeter smooth rods. So I should have drilled these out ahead of time just to do it. I did drill out and make sure that the smooth rod does fit into these, and I did drill out all of the M5s. I just don't know why I didn't do the M3s. I think because I didn't remember which side these threaded inserts were going to go on, but either way, those are all in there now, and we are ready to start putting these together. Now I did want to use these POM or acetyl lead screw nuts, but they don't actually fit in the parts here. So that's kind of a bummer. I might end up going back and remaking these at some point, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and use the brass ones that you're supposed to use. Alright, so we're going to start here on the right side. We're going to get our gauge and put it here. So some of the things we're going to need to do ahead of time is I have the lead screw nut. I'm going to go ahead and put that on just so that it is out of the way. There we go. And that'll be good enough for now while we worry about getting these smooth rods in. So again, we have our bottom brackets here, and these just go right where the spot is on this guide. So see, that's easy enough to put in there. And then we'll go ahead and get one of the smooth rods here and put it in. Now we need to get out our bearings. So these are LM8 LUU bearings, so these are the long ones. So there we have our long bearings. We have our bottom support. So I need one of, which one do I need? I need this one here. And these just slide over the bearings tightly. All right, well, getting this on is insanely tight. So definitely need to do that prior to putting any of this on. So I'm going to go ahead and prep all this at least, and then it'll be easy enough to add in the piece of extrusion here in a little bit. All right, so here is one set of bearings, another bearing, and the lead screw nut all here ready to go. So I'm just going to rinse and repeat and do the other side. Okay, there's looking at the printer from the front. So I have the right side on, left side is on, and pretty much ready to go. I just need to cut that piece of extrusion to go along here, and then I can finish attaching it. I did forget to mention though, on these Z-nuts, these are M5 by 16 with the M5 T-nuts in there again. So yeah, I'm gonna go cut that extrusion and we'll come back tomorrow night and finish up. All right, so here you can see we have all the bearings pushed on now. So, or all the parts pushed onto the bearings. I literally had to hammer these on because they are on there super tight, but that is how those look. And then I went ahead and recreated this part. So I did have it before here, but I was using the brass bushing and I did not want to use that. So I went ahead and redesigned it real quick this morning, printed it out using the POM bushings. I like those better, so that's what I'm going to use. So now I just need to line all these up and put the extrusion through. All right, well that's one side assembled there. You can see how that goes through. This is where the bed will mount into. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and do the other side. All right, so the final part we have are the top of the Z-rods. Now that we have the carriage on there and everything's done, these take M5 by 40, or are these 30? M5 by 30, I think these are. No, these are M5 by 40. These actually take button heads. I don't have button heads, so I'm using socket heads, so I'm hoping I can get these to fit in here properly. And, but once I do, then we can just go ahead and get these mounted. So these are gonna take a little bit of work because you kind of have to, I might need to take this top rail off, put all these on, and then try and put it down, I think. I can't really see an easy way to put these on without either breaking the plastic part or what. So I'm just gonna try to figure it out and see what I come up with. right, so now we have the bed. Let's see how it fits. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not a perfect fit, but I think it's pretty close. It's not obviously going to go down all that way. I will have springs in there to help with the assisting of leveling the bed. I also could, I guess I could just do solid aluminum spacers under there even. I don't know yet. I haven't really decided. But yeah, so that's what it looks like with the Ultra Base in there. Again, I want to use this because I like it. I think it works out really well. So I think the last thing before we finish fitting the bed on here, you can't see me, where am I at, is I need to take it off. I need to resolder the connections underneath so that it is for 48 or for 24 volt, not 48 volt. Right now it's wired for 12 volt. I need to do it for 24 volt, and then we'll get some springs on here and see how those work, and then throw just some knobs under there for now. So let me do that. So you can see on here it tells us what the pins are and how to get to 12 volt or 24 volt. So in order to do 24 volt, positive needs to be on pin 2 and pin 3 needs to be negative. So we just have to take both of these off down here, cut this shorter, put negative here onto 3, move positive from 1 to 2, and go from there. So what I'm doing is, what I'm using is, I went ahead and put on great big tip onto my soldering iron here to really be able to heat that up. It should be easier in this kind of bed because it's not that real big thick aluminum, but we'll have to see how it goes. And I want to be careful because I don't want to mess up the thermistor wires. Let's see if we can get, the other thing we can do is can always get my heat gun out if I need to put any more heat into the bed to get it out, to get it off. Okay. All right, finally got those off. So, as we said, number 2 needs positive, which is this guy right here. So we'll be, and then 3 is negative. But we need to cut down the lead a bit here. Okay, now this is ready for 24 volts. I might just put a little bit of hot glue on here. I did melt that just a little bit, so it might put a little bit of something protective over that. But otherwise, we should be good to go now. I put this on. We're going to do a washer and then a spring, which I have cut down, and then another washer so that spring doesn't dig into anything. And then that will go on the first hole, like that. And it's just coming through enough underneath, so now it's just rinse and repeat to all of those. All right, well, there is the Z-axis completely assembled along with the bed. Definitely did not go as smooth as I thought it would, but overall not horrible. I mean, that took me probably about an hour and a half to get all of that assembled and put together, or I guess actually probably was like 2 hours or so, 2.5 hours, because I did a little bit last night and then some more tonight. And getting the bed kind of situated on there took a hot second. But yeah, so I think it's gonna work out well with those wheels. Again, you can see how those are on there. They have springs for now. I don't know if I'm gonna change that, but for now, that's what it is. I don't have the correct bolts on the top part of these Z-rods, so I will be switching those out once they come in. But for right now, I'm just using the button heads just to be able to get through this part and move along. Again, the bed does not fit perfectly into these mounts. I do have to shimmy the M3s just a little bit. because I was going off a model and the model might not have been 100% correct. So it's real world versus modeling are very different. But either way, it does fit, it does get on there. I have the bed ready for 24 volts, which is great. So the next step here is gonna be, I think we're gonna go ahead and do the Y-axis. So we'll get the Y brackets printed and ready to go, and then we'll get the carriages on those Y rails and get all of that ready to go. And then that'll be part 3, I guess, or part 2. Yeah, part 3. And then part 4 will be the X-axis. And we'll do like extruder and electronics. So kind of break these down. I hope you guys are finding this useful if you are building a Voron Legacy. And let me know if it's helpful and whatnot, and we'll kind of just go from there. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope you're finding this series helpful if you are building one of these. Leave me a comment down below what you think of the series. Is this the way you guys like to have content? If not, let me know. I can always just do live streams for these instead. It saves me editing time. But yeah, let me know. And again, if you want to check out any of the parts that I've modified or buy any of the different parts that I have here, you can check all those links down below. There's also my Patreon and some affiliate links down there. If you want to throw me a couple bucks on Patreon or using those affiliate links to buy these products, I greatly appreciate it because a little slice of what you buy comes to me at no cost to you. There's also a Discord down there which I'll be posting questions and talking about this. So join the Discord, come hang out with us. And I think that'll be it. So thank you all for tuning in. I'll catch you next time, and happy printing.